Hello and welcome. It's the middle of November and it's time to do another one of those workshop reviews. Enjoy the video. Before we get in though, check you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, why not? If you fancy contacting me, churchhouseclassics, and that's all one word, @gmail.com. If you fancy supporting the channel or just buying me a pint, then there's a PayPal me link scrolling down here. Let's get on with it. So believe it or not, I've actually been at this site now for 4 years. I've just signed my second 4-year lease. And yes, you look at some of the really early videos, so the Red Stag, Bob, Cairngorm Brown 2-door Range Rover, you'll see how much this site's evolved. The chassis is still up there. I probably need to get out there and paint it or do something with it, make it look less shit, because it is quite a nice signature piece, showing what the Range Rover looks like underneath. That needs tidying up. I have got another sign and another number plate, which were very, very, very kindly donated. I'll show you those in a second. As far as the projects are concerned, the Holy Trinity, the Three Graces, whatever you want to call them, yeah, they're still here. Fuck all's happened to them. Absolutely nothing has happened. However, I've got some more space now, as you will observe. Axle came off a 1972 Series 3 that I bought, so I bought an ID and a rolling chassis. That needs moving. And then there's my gantry down there, which is being thoroughly looked after. There's a spare that's a spare toughened windscreen for a Range Rover, just sitting there waiting patiently. I think that came out the Ghost Train. Over here, well, there's the Disco 300 series. Now this thing has been somewhat of a challenge, and there are spoilers in this video, folks, so I've probably got about 8 or 9 videos across all of the projects that are going through my workshop. I've started putting dates into the video so you can see really why all of a sudden all the leaves are falling off the trees, etc., or there are different projects in the workshop, etc., because I tend to do a chunk of work and then not work on it for 3 weeks and then do another chunk of work. So the Disco sill is all in. Hopefully I've published that video by now, and I've got one tiny hole, which is the one that I kind of noticed first and foremost. Let's just see if we can get in. Oh, one-handed. This bonnet needs repainted. One hole, which is just down there underneath the servo. So I've repaired the inner wing. The loom is kind of ready to go back in again. Headlight wiring is a shambles. Servo's going to come off it because its brake master is leaking anyway. So servo's going to come off, then I can make that repair down there. Give the engine and gearbox a damn good service, MOT it, and use it. And I need it on the road. Headlining and everything's out at the moment. That probably will stay that way for the short term until I get the time to actually put it back together again. It's more important to get it on the road than it is to have it beautiful. So it's going to be a work in progress. We venture into the workshop. Well, hopefully you will have seen this one, 1990/2 Vogue SE 3.9 manual, left-hand drive. I've been going over this thing. Customer wanted the inner wings sorting out because they are very, very, very flaky. So I've kind of primed one, getting ready to prime the other. All this old original paint and stone guard needs to be scraped off. It's time consuming, but it's well worth it. This car's also gone onto lowered springs now. So a lot of the challenges I've had with this are dealing with, for the want of a better word, Spanish mechanics. That's no real slight. So for instance, we've got here a pair of rear springs off this car. Yeah, stuff like that. My car, well, do you know what? Absolutely nothing's happened with it. It's still there. I painted a smiley face on the front of it. It distresses me because the amount of effort I put into the Disco 1 outside, I probably could have had this on the road. So this is the next one that's going to get done of my own projects. I've got all the panels, I've got all the bits and bobs, I've got the sills, I've got the front inner wings and the bulkhead repair sections. It's going to come apart and I'm going to do this. It's going to become the next personal project that I do, and it needs to happen. I'm going to have to commit to getting this done. Otherwise, I might as well just, break it up for parts, because it can't just sit here like this. I need it on the road. I don't really want to break it up for parts. It's been with me too long. And then we've got the Midget. So the Midget is continuing to fight. Again, there are a number of minor anomalies with it, but overall it's actually a pretty solid and square car. I was just about to bleed the brakes on it this week, and then found that the pedal box is seized up. So when you push the brake pedal down, the clutch wants to go down at the same time. Well, that's not very helpful, is it? So that's all out now. And then, interestingly, when I put the Midget videos up, they don't get anywhere near the volume of views that the Range Rover or Land Rover stuff does, or even this video. This video will get a good number of views, but the throughput, or sorry, the viewer attention or retention, I should say, on the Midget videos is much better than it is on the Land Rover videos. So there is a good following for the little Midget, and I'm really enjoying doing this project as well. It's good fun. It is really good fun. And then we've got the Shambles. Well, a lot of people, sorry Bertie, Mr. Wooster, and others, tidy your fucking workshop up is the constant comment that comes in. Now, a lot of stuff has been rammed to the back end of the workshop here for very good reason. And there has been a plan evolving over the last month and a half, which is going to actually come to fruition now. And that plan is, whoa, where's the big grey container gone? You can see the footprint on the floor where it was, and it's now over there, because I've taken on half of the yard from next door. He didn't want the full yard, so I thought, do you know what? I can have all this space here, which is then my working space. Okay, there's a lot of crap lying around, folks. This is mid-tidy up. I can have storage area for projects that are upcoming. So we've got the 1989 Vogue SE on the left there, the one with the broken exhaust studs. And then we've got Dale's car, Soft Dash 3.9, which also has problems with the exhaust manifolds. And in both cases, this is because utter ham-fisted morons have thread-locked exhaust bolts into cylinder heads. And because of that, on this one, certainly on the 1989 car, too many bolts have broken off, which more or less renders the head as scrap, because by the time I've drilled them all out, I might as well just put another head on it. Dale's car, we've got one bolt, one fixing out of the 16 snapped off, and I can't get the bastard apart. The miles it's done would warrant it kind of coming apart, really. Let's see if we can't do something with it. Refurbish the top end, put decent exhaust on it. I've got the cats and everything ready to go back on it, and get that MOT. There's a few other little jobs and bits and bobs. It will be serialised coming up. I've also inherited a little shed. I can't show you in it at the moment because it's locked, and I haven't got the key because Andy, who I'm subleasing this plot from, has still got to empty this out. In fact, it's not locked. Look at that. Right, so that's a big old shed. So the idea in here is, okay, I can make some small repairs to the back wall of the shed. I have to get around the back and do that, but otherwise it is actually relatively watertight. So that then gives me capacity to put an incredible amount of the panels, the doors, stuff that I hang on to because I might need a square inch of it at some point in the next 2 years. Shit, basically, can go into the shed. All of this stuff over here behind the disco can go in there. This is all part of the massive tidy up. So over here we've got a flat packed 88-inch Range Rover. We've got a pile of bonnets. This stuff has all been out here most of this year. I really want it undercover for winter. So it's just a world of stuff really that needs moving into storage. It will tidy up the yard no end. Things like the axles at the moment are just piled up over here on the floor. They potentially will go in there, so the axles go undercover. Again, there's a Range Rover axle, two Range Rover axles there, front and rear. and one, I think that's the back axle off the 1982 88-inch. And there's the, sorry, that's the front axle, Richard. Front axle off the 1981, 82, 88-inch that I broke up years ago. So I got the ID and most of the bits for that. And there's the back axle off the 72 Series 3 that I bought. So the idea, I guess, would be that I will pick up a galv chassis and build those cars back up again using the parts that I've got. So none of this is shit. Well, it's shit, but it's shit that needs saving. And then pretty much everything in here, at the back end of the workshop here, stuff that I don't need on a minute-by-minute basis, is going to go into that shed. And we'll get the workshop looking, here's a promise, a bit more usable. Because the walls are closing in on me. If you look at those really early videos of when I first came in here, you think, crikey, you're never going to fill this workshop up. Yeah, and I have done. With stuff. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, okay, keys. And then containers. This container, in order to lift this, I had to tip the entire thing out. That was a hard day's work on Thursday. Absolutely shagged out I was. So the chap with the crane tried to lift it. When it got dropped in, it was dropped in by a truck that was able to manoeuvre into the yard because I had the recycle opposite. Now there's a fence opposite, so we couldn't manoeuvre a truck into the yard. And he dropped it right here. But even then it was touch and go. So the chap was working from the roadside. Insert videos here. Fuck yeah! Of the struggles, but I had to tip more or less. It's gone down a little bit on the funny side, but it's okay. Tip more or less everything in here out so we could lift it. Like I say, that was a hard Thursday. There's an enormous number of doors back there, 2-door doors, and tailgates and so forth, all fodder for the shed. And then you see, I might be able to use the container a bit more usefully, so I can actually get in and out of it. And you don't even want it. Well, so you are going to see inside the other one, because the other container is almost as much fun. It's going to be nice to get myself organised. Right, let's shift these. There's the headlining out the disco there. Honestly, it's... Oh, look, here. Here's the new Church House Classics sign that got made for me. It's a thing of beauty. I think I've shown it before. It needs painting and it needs to go on. It needs to have... Probably what I'll do with that is I'm probably going to mount that onto the side of this container. Because I think it'll look fucking good up there. With the chassis tidier on the top there, so I'm going to weld in some brackets onto the top of the container, or bolt some brackets, so that you don't have a spare wheel up there and ratchet straps and so forth. It'll just look a lot tidier. Yeah, and have the sign on there. And then he's also made me, cut me out, a number, which he brought over, it's probably over a year ago now. And here we've got, down here, unit number 56, because it's going to look better than the 4-year-old piece of chipboard that I sprayed up and lobbed up there. Oh, it's done well, to be honest. The piece of chipboard hasn't moved. It's exactly as I put it up there 4 years ago. Probably could do with another one of those, really, couldn't I? But then over here, a pile of wheels that I got picked up off free serve, free view, free whatever, free cycle, upcycle. Anyway, a set of Land Rover Defender wheels, Range Rover wheels. That's the blue and yellow car is absolutely full of parts as well. So if I can get these things looking a bit more presentable, then that A-post might be floating. That's nice though. Yeah, get this lot sorted out. I mean, they will probably stay there because the amount of effort to move those is a pain in the backside. But they can get cleaned up, they can get tidied up so they don't look quite so derelict, even though they are derelict. I might tidy this one up sooner rather than later. I've got panels and so forth, used panels that I can, in fact there's probably a front wing over there you can see. Lob the panels on it, get a pair of sills on it, join the A-post and the B-post up to the sills, get it so the engine starts, get it so the brakes work, and then move it on as a viable project for someone else. It is matching numbers, A suffix, and the bonnet on that is scrap, but I've got a pile of bonnets over there, including the Ghost Train bonnet. Now, a lot of people have been asking about Ghost Train. There's a little infill of what happened with Ghost Train, because rightly or wrongly, when I started picking at the edges, it just wasn't worth it. Really wasn't worth the aggravation. I've had an amusing Sunday. I've been tearing the Ghost Train apart. Yeah, I think it was the right move, to be quite honest. That's the majority of the scrap pile. Right, hello. So yeah, bulkhead is absolutely shot. What I hadn't realised at the time when I was first looking at this thing is they put one of those footwell repair panels and just welded it in on the inside, then smoothed the outside over. They've done it on both sides. So bulkhead, the majority of the bulkhead side is shot. I will salvage it because along with the other bulkheads, like the red one over there and the white one over there, I can probably use bits off bulkheads to make other bulkheads good. Yes, now chassis, well, it's not bad. Got lots of original paint on the inside here. You see that? That's just shiny. I'm going to give it a good old grip blast off, protect it, probably paint it, and then get rid of that one up there and put this one up there instead. Engine and gearbox. Anyone want a 200 TDI that runs? I should be flogging that. Because there might be something else happening on the daily driver front. But yes, that's got it down to a manageable chunk. This door's better than the driver's door. I've got a feeling at some point, way within the lifetime of this vehicle, he had a pair of new doors fitted. So I'm going to strip that door down, salvage all the useful bits off it. I have managed to salvage quite a lot of stuff, really, that's going to be useful for other Range Rovers. So it's not all going to waste. I'm certainly not going to scrap the chassis, nor its ID. The intention is going to remain that when I find a reasonable body, I shall lob it on this chassis. Just rebuild the chassis first, eh? Whether it goes on top of the container or whether I just move it closer to the side over there, I couldn't tell you at the moment. And then A-posts, B-posts and so forth have come off. They might yield some salvageable parts. I'm not holding much hope out, but they don't take up much space. They can go in the container. And we're back in the workshop again. So all of this stuff up in the roof here could probably go into the shed. Another Range Rover roof and bonnet. And an 88-inch station wagon roof. It's relentless, isn't it? And piles and piles and piles of crap underneath the bench. There is more or less a Series 3 loom and all of the engine controls underneath there. Engines. engines, engines, gearboxes, gearboxes. A nicely donated cabinet. So this was very kindly donated by Tony Jenner, who's a mate of Dale, who owns the soft dash Range Rover with the broken exhaust. So thanks for that, Tony. I really do appreciate it. Never short of tool cabinets, and this tool cabinet is okay. It's good. Works well. One broken drawer on it. I'm not going to complain. Brilliant. And it just helps me really keep my tools a little bit more organised. So this stuff over here is generally stuff that I would use nearer the bench, and all my drills and so forth, all my lighters. Never have too few lighters, knives and so forth here. Yes, you need to tidy up that lot as well, Richard. What a shambles. What an absolute shambles. And the bench too, you need to tidy the bench up. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. But it is getting there. It's fun and games. So, like I say, we are, what, middle of November? We are, what's the date today? It tells me it is 16th of November. We are middle of November. And I think, really, the rest of this year are going to be this, Dale's car, 300 TDI soft dash is coming back for some minor remediation, which I'll video. Some bodywork needs doing on it, and the air suspension needs fine tuning. Right hand rear is dropping, and sort the crap out that is my life. Now, I hope that was enjoyable for you. Little insight into the madness that is Church House Classics. Just insane. You really are insane, Richard, aren't you? Right, I'm going to put the kettle on.